Welcome to Scenario Modeling using the Oracle Planning Cloud Financials module, Part 1, Getting Started with the Financials module. Oracle Planning Cloud is a centralized planning and forecasting solution. It provides web interfaces for planning, modeling, and reporting on data. It supports planning and forecasting in Excel as well. This suite of tools provides pre-built content to support plans and forecasts for income statement, balance sheet, and cash flow. The pre-built content will allow you to quickly assess the impact of changes on future periods. Financials in action to support scenario modeling. We just closed the month. The actuals are in, and we've run our normal prepare forecast process that updates forecasts with the latest actuals. We can see we had a big dip in last month's revenue. However, the future forecasted months are still aligned with our original plan, which we now know we are not going to hit. Since we don't know for sure what the future months will hold, we can prepare for a variety of scenarios. We can quickly alter our assumptions and run our calculations for those potential scenarios. We can also see the impact of those assumptions on our cash flow. And we can alter our cash flow assumptions to view further impacts on cash. We update the timing assumptions. We think revenue will be slower to come in. We can quickly change our accounts payable timing to extend out when we are paying our suppliers. Our projections with the new assumptions show us periods where we may have cash shortages. Enable and configure the Financials module. These are the high-level steps to getting the Financials module up and running, assuming we're starting from scratch in EPBCS or EPM Standard or Enterprise license. Step 1. Create the application. Since we're starting from scratch, we'll need to create the type of cloud application. We'll select Planning. We will create a new application. We give the application a name and a description. We select an application type of modules in order to use the Financials module. We fill in information for the application on the Details screen. In the Time Period section, we choose the time period options for the application. Select the number of months, the starting and ending years, the start month for your fiscal year, and a distribution of weeks through the year. In the Other Details section, select the main currency, whether you will plan in more than one currency, and rename the input and reporting cubes if you wish. Select sandboxes if you wish to have that capability. On the review screen, we can review the selections we've made. It shows our choices, so we click the Create button. A status screen will appear during the application creation. Once it completes, we see a completion message box. Because we need to configure the Financials module, we'll click the Configure button. Step 2. Enable the module. On the Configure module screen, click the drop-down and select Financials, then click Enable Features. Within the Financials module, click Enable Features. When enabling features, you may incrementally add features as needed. There are certain prerequisites for features to become available. You must enable revenue gross margin to be able to activate income statement. Activating income statement allows you to select balance sheet. Selecting balance sheet allows you to select cash flow. If you wish to have a rolling forecast, select that option. Once you've selected your desired options, click Enable. After the Enable process completes, you'll need to sign out of EPM and then sign back in for the Financials module to appear in your workspace. Step 3. Set planning and forecast preparation. After we log back into EPM, we navigate to the Financials configuration screen. We see the Planning and Forecast Preparation section. Click on Action, then Configure. On the configuration screen, select the fiscal year, the period, and the plan start year. Also select the number of years for the plan and what level of detail for each year of the plan. Do the same for the Forecast tab, and if you enable it, the Rolling Forecast tab. One note, the current fiscal year selection will apply to all the other modules if they are used. Step 4. Import custom accounts if needed. The module will create a set of hierarchies to include an accounts hierarchy. You may use the accounts provided by the application, or you may create your own set of accounts. You may not alter the pre-built members other than the alias. Please note that the system-generated accounts have a prefix of OFS_. This is a reserved prefix and may not be used in any custom account names. Note all of the available pre-built driver-based accounts. Many companies use a blend of the pre-built and custom accounts. You may import your own accounts or input them manually in the system. Using the pre-built accounts means all the needed calculations are provided. Using your own custom accounts or a blend of accounts may require some creation of additional calculations. You cannot change the hierarchy or names of the system-generated accounts. However, you may change the alias of the accounts to something more familiar to your users. Depending on the options you enabled, you may need to configure revenue, expense, balance sheet, and cash flow accounts. For each section, click the action ellipsis and select Configure. You may add, modify, import, and export custom accounts through these options. Import dimension members as needed for the various account sections. You can also add custom members to perform calculations not offered by the module. You may create formulas for those accounts if needed. Step 5. Import the entity and other custom dimensions. Most organizations will have too many entities to input manually. You will want to import the entities through the configuration process. A useful method is to export the dimensions first to get a file in the correct format. Then you may edit the file with your entities and import the file back into the system. This is useful for other custom dimensions that you may have added during the application creation process. By default, the system creates a plan element dimension. This dimension is used as a means to layer the data to identify the source. There are members for loaded data, input data, adjustments, etc. There are also members to receive data from other integrated modules. For example, you may receive salary and benefit expenses from the workforce module. Step 6. Set user variable definitions. User variables are used throughout the module. They allow the system objects to filter data to the specific value in the variable. This reduces system maintenance by reducing the number of objects that need to be maintained. You may define the members that are allowed to be used in the variable. Some of the variable definitions available are for the entity, scenario, and version. Custom user variables may be added. Step 7. Import and calculate actuals. Templates are provided by the system for the format needed to load data. Download the templates and put the data into the file in the specified format. These files may be directly imported to the application without using data management. Step 8. Set assumptions and trends for forecast and plan. Out of the box, the module provides settings to define drivers and trend methods for future periods. Trends can be set prior to opening the forecast to calculate drivers and accounts. The out-of-the-box prepare forecast rule will run the trend logic to pre-populated forecast based on the selection. A custom calculation may be needed if applying global trends. Step 9. Run pre-built calculations. Several processes are provided that calculate actuals, prepare the forecast or the plan, roll up the cube, or calculate cash flow. Each of these processes will perform tasks specific to the desired operation. Step 10. Assign security. For native environments, not SSO enabled, there are 3 easy steps to set up security and planning. First, we create users in My Services and provision their roles. Next, create native groups through access control. Assign users to those groups. Lastly, assign application access to users or groups within the planning application. In access control, we search, add, and display the native directory containing any native groups. Let's go through the process of applying security to application components. We'll start with the dimensions. Apply member-specific security for the following dimensions: account, entity, version, scenario, and user-defined dimensions such as product. After the dimensions, apply security to data forms and folders, business rules, and task lists. Choose Read, Write, or None for object access, and choose which members to include from a drop-down list. Step 11. Enable application for planners. From the settings screen, select the option to enable the use of the application by all users. Once you save the change, your users will be able to access the application. This concludes getting started with the Financials module. Go to nrl.com/updates and stay up to date on all the information as it changes.